I don't know. I'd say I'm reasonable.
Okay, that's completely unreasonable.
I'm reasonable.
I'm unreasonable.
You have no idea just how reasonable I have been.
Reasonable synonyms are sensible, rational, practical, fair, appropriate.
Fitting, suitable, logical.
All things I would definitely say describe me.
Do they describe you?
Welcome to I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson.
I'm reasonable. Hey everybody, welcome to I'm Reasonable with me, Zainab Johnson. I'm reasonable with Zainab Johnson, but it's me. I'm Zainab Johnson. I don't know why I just did that. It's the final week of Ramadan. Oh my God, Ramadan Mubarak. Whoa, it is, whew. I don't know where the time is going, but it is going fast. It is also my second and final week in Australia. I am in Melbourne for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And yeah, 1 week down, one more week to go. And when I return home, I got a bunch of shows in a bunch of cities. So right now, let's just go through what cities I'll be coming to so that we can make sure if I'm coming to a city near you, you are in the building, in a seat, ready to laugh. April 24th. April 24th, I will be in Burbank, California at Flappers Comedy Club. If you're in the Los Angeles area and you want to see me run an hour, then this is the show to come to. April 24th, Burbank, Flappers Comedy Club. The 15th of May, I'll be in Portland, Oregon at Helium. The 21st through the 22nd of June, I will be in San Francisco, California. I'll be headlining Cobb's 4 shows, 2 nights, June 21st and 22nd. Cobb's is very big, you guys, so you have to show up and support me so that it doesn't feel like we overshot this thing, okay? July 18th, I'll be in Columbus, Ohio at the Funny Bone. Then the 19th through the 20th, I will walk right on over. I won't walk. That is ridiculous. I'll head right on over to the neighboring city of Cleveland, and I'll be at the Funny Bone in Cleveland, July 19th through the 20th. August 22nd through the 24th, I'll be in Chicago. Oh, I keep forgetting this. In June, I'm just going to add it to the screen again. In June 14th and 15th. June 14th and 15th, I'm going to be at the Zanies in Nashville, Tennessee. And then August 22nd through the 24th, I'll be at the Zanies in Chicago, the downtown Chicago Zanies. And then September 19th through the 21st, I'll be in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., September 19th through the 21st. I actually do have some London dates coming up, but they're not announced yet. They're being confirmed now, and they're not announced. As soon as they are announced, I will let you guys know. Also, all of these details, all of this information is in the details of this podcast, okay? So, yeah, just check out the details. Also, this is a perfect time to hit the like button. Hit that like button. It really does help. Also, subscribe so that you can make sure you're notified whenever I put up something new on my channel. This podcast, for one, I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson, coming to you every single week on Wednesdays. So make sure you guys subscribe. Of course, my stand-up, I'm posting like shorts, and I'll probably post longer clips. You know, let's take it day by day, week by week. But you don't want to miss out. Actually, one of my shorts reached 1 million views for the first time on YouTube. Yay! It's the short about my name being Zainab. So thank you guys so much for watching that, liking it, sharing it. Thank you very much. And you guys, we're already in the 30,000. When I first started doing I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson, I had like 5,000 or 6,000 followers. We're in the 30,000s now, you guys. So keep it up. I appreciate you. And I love touching base with you guys, hearing your comments, all of that type of stuff. I love it. Thank you so much. All right. So what's up with Z? As I said, I am in Australia, Melbourne specifically. And so I'm going to just start with the question at the top, the reasonable or not question at the top. Is it reasonable or unreasonable for me to want a restaurant that has closed down to keep their website and let their loving customers know that unfortunately they had to close down. Maybe they're in a new location. Maybe they're offering something different. Maybe they mess with the restaurant that replaced them and they're like, hey, we're not there anymore, but this restaurant is pretty cool too. Feel free to check them out. So the reason why I'm asking that is because last time I was in Melbourne was in 2018. And of course, you guys know my favorite social media app is Yelp. Although I'm realizing in other countries, Yelp is not that reliable or big. You should just basically rely on like Google reviews. But I bookmark any place that I've really enjoyed. I always bookmark it. I bookmark it with a note on why I enjoyed it. Sometimes I can't get to writing the reviews, but I want to make sure that I remember where I ate, because when I return, I want to go patronize them some more, right? And so this particular bit, I'm going to actually say the specific business in this instance. It's in Australia. It was Laneway Greens. I ate at a lot of places that I am revisiting this trip, but Laneway Greens was like my everyday go-to spot for like salads, smoothies, acai bowls, vegetable bowls, right? And I'm realizing I don't want to say the whole of Australia because I have only been to Melbourne, but I'm having a hard time finding like just leafy green dishes. Like yesterday I ate out, my friend who's visiting and an Australian friend that I have here. We went to like a poshy Melbourne pub, and it was supposed to have like really good food. And I was surprised, like none of the vegetable dishes, okay, first of all the dishes were meat dishes, basically. If you ask for vegetarian, they're going to say, oh, you want the halloumi, which is just like a cheese. A big old piece of cheese. Anywho, none of the dishes really came with any green vegetables. Like, sure, you could get like a chickpea on a plate or a cauliflower, but I'm not finding it very easy to get just like leafy greens. Even the restaurant that I really like, which is a plant-based restaurant called Smith and Daughters. I mean, I expected them to have like an array of leafy greens, but no, they did not. Like they had I was able to get like the broccolini, or in terms of salads, you're able to order a tomato salad. That's the thing here. There are salads on every menu, but it's just not going to be what I feel like I'm used to in terms of the traditional salad, which is the base is usually like some leafy greens. You're going to get a chickpea salad, a squash salad, which just means they're serving you a vegetable cold. That's like a vegetable with some sort of sauce cold. That's really what that means. Now, as I'm saying this, it is coming into my mind that a few episodes ago, one of the Ask Z's was, why do people go to new places and always try to get, stuff this from the old place? Remember that letter? I recognize there is a tinge of this in there, but I also recognize like leafy greens are good for you. So why wouldn't you have that on the menu? Anyway, I have digressed so far from the point. I used to go while I was here last time to this place called Laneway Greens. I really enjoyed them. They were when I needed to get something quick, when I needed to get something healthy on the way to the show, whatever. They were my like go-to. They were reasonably priced. It's not a sit down place. It's like, it's not as good, but it's basically the equivalent of like a sweet green. It's like if you put a sweet green and a pressed juice together, that's what Laneway Greens was. Anyway, I come back this time, and of course, my food prep is very different because now I'm here during Ramadan, right? And so I can't wait until I'm just the sun goes down and places are closed. So I venture out to go to Laneway Greens because on Google reviews, on Yelp, it's still saying that it's open and available. So I get to the address and I keep passing it because I'm like, I feel like I'm in the right place, but I'm not seeing this business. So then I finally go into this other place and I was like, hey, I'm having a hard time finding Laneway Greens. Can you point me to where they are? And she was like, oh, I was about to attempt the Australian accent, but it's going to be so bad. I won't even do that. She was like, oh, they're no longer open. We're now in this location. They're no longer open. And I was like, oh, for how long? She was like, yeah, like a couple of years. And I was like, oh, okay. She was like, I don't think they survived the pandemic. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sucks. And she was like, yeah. And then when I talked to my Australian friend about it, she was like, actually, I think they were struggling before the pandemic. Now, neither one of those things matters to me in terms of what I'm saying. I just wish that right now, right, it's all about a digital footprint, right? And I think that it is considerate of a business to their loyal customers to just have some sort of digital footprint out there saying, hey, thank you so much for your patronage over the time that we were open, but this has happened. And even you don't even have to give us the specifics. You don't got to say, oh, the rent went up and we couldn't cover it, or inflation cost us, or the pandemic, whatever it is. Just let me know. And this should be the first thing that when I Google your business, that should be the first thing that comes up. Is that unreasonable for me to ask that, guys? Let me know. I'm thinking about when you go on GoDaddy, it costs $10 a year to have to own a domain. It costs the most, it's like $100 to have your domain, to have a landing page that can have just one message, a landing page that does nothing, that forwards every other search to your page. For you to be high on Google search engine, it's literally like $100 a year. I mean, if my favorite businesses send me an email and are like, oh, that's what you want? Well, please donate $100. You guys, no lie, I would send like 5 businesses that I love that have closed $100 to cover them for. I mean, I just feel like not forever, like not 20 years from now, but I think it's reasonable for me to ask this in like a 1 to 5 year range. After 5 years, it's like, dang, now that I'm doing the math, I was here in 2018 and it's 2024. So they may have been doing exactly what I'm asking. And now we're past the point of it being reasonable. Okay. Well, you guys still let me know if you think that I was being unreasonable, because sometimes you just got to reiterate it for me. But as I'm talking through it, it seems like my ask is a bit unreasonable. But here's the thing that my friend brought up to me. It's like, if you are open and still in business, but for some reason you're not opening that day, maybe it's a public holiday, maybe you're having supply issues, whatever. Maybe you're like a 1-2 person operation and, you couldn't get a babysitter, whatever. Are we being unreasonable for asking that you post that on your website, on your social media, or you just leave a phone message so that when we call, we're like, hey, sorry, we're not going to be in today. We're not going to be open. Like, is that I don't know. I just feel like this comes with running a business in the same way that as I'm promising you guys this podcast every week, if I know I can't give you this podcast, then I'm going to post something. I'm going to post something in all the places you guys will be looking for stuff. I'm going to post and say, hey, you guys, sorry, no podcast for me this week. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I'm just saying that's like that this is all in line. Like, this is all what comes with like running a business, right? On a very small scale, all the way up to like a really large scale. You guys, let me know. In the comments, make sure that you hashtag what's up with Z so that I know what you're responding to. Let's get into these stories. Before we get into it, subscribe. If you're still here, that means you're enjoying what you're watching. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into these top stories and let's decide if people are being reasonable or unreasonable. First up, Lizzo quits either quit the music industry or social media. It wasn't quite clear, but she definitely quit. So she posted, I believe on Instagram, she posted on her social media that she is, quote, tired of being dragged by everyone. She gets criticized over her looks. In the past year, she got all that backlash because she was accused of sexual harassment and sort of unsafe employment practices by her backup dancers. And she's saying that people who know her and don't know her are just spreading lies. And basically she didn't sign up for this. And so she quits. I hate to be this person. And I love Lizzo. So you know what I'm about to say probably ain't that favorable whenever I start with the positive, right? I love Lizzo. Lizzo's first album, Truth Hurts, I think it was called Truth Hurts. I listened to that album from start to finish over and over and over. I just thought that it was such an amazing album. I would run to that album. I would clean to that album. I would walk to that album. I would drive to that album. Speaking of albums, did we all listen to Cowboy Carter? I listened to it once. I got to listen to it again. I like it. Off of first listen, it's okay, this is a driving album. This ain't like we getting ready, we about to go to the club. I'm not going to the club anyway, but this ain't the album I listen to before I get on stage. This is the album that I'm taking a long walk to. This is the album that I'm taking a long drive to. This is the album that I'm possibly, winding down the night. There are maybe 4 out of the 27 songs that are really upbeat and whatever. But again, I've digressed so far from the point. Lizzo's Truth Hurts album, I loved it. For me, it was an album that I listened to no matter what. I even used to come out on stage, I think, to the song that she had with Missy Elliott. I am a big fan of Lizzo. I went to see Lizzo in Vancouver. I purchased tickets to Lizzo's Vancouver concert. Me and Andy Allo from Upload, my castmate she plays Nora on Upload. We stayed in Vancouver when we were wrapped. We stayed in Vancouver an extra day just to see Lizzo's show. So I'm a fan of Lizzo, but Lizzo, girl, you did sign up for this. This is exactly what you signed up for. First of all, life is tough, but it is not news at this point that the entertainment business and the music business in particular is harsh. Now, is that ideal? No. Should it be that way? No. But it is, and this is not new news. And so you can quit. I'm totally fine with that. I don't want you to quit because I really think that you're very talented. I'm talking to Lizzo, directly to Lizzo, like she's watching this. I mean, who knows, right? You are so talented, so I would hate for you to quit. I would hate for that to happen. But, and I'm not naive, right? I'm not naive. I can imagine that Lizzo being a plus-sized black woman who shows up confident and butt naked almost all the time. Yo, I'm sure she is getting vitriol online. I'm sure that she gets nothing but hate just because how dare she? Right? How dare she be the epitome of what is considered not beautiful, not confident, not sexy, and show up I don't give a damn what y'all are talking about. I am beautiful. I am sexy. I am talented. And I don't care about what you're saying. So she's showing up despite every signal in the world saying that she shouldn't. So, of course, people are going to be like, oh, no. Now I have to throw you extra hate. So that's one, right? Then we have just the reality of the music business, which is awful. It's awful on a financial level, I hear. It's awful on a self-esteem level. It's awful. It's awful on a you trying to constantly, like Lizzo was like the biggest thing in music like a couple of years ago, right? And so if you're constantly, that's the thing about getting really big, having like a certain level of success, is that then the task is maintaining that, right? And even when you're doing good, if you're not doing as good as you were, even if you're doing exceptionally well, but you still don't reach the height that you once reached, it can feel like you're failing. And people around you can make you feel like that. Right now, there's also like all of that stuff. I think it goes around TikTok where the girl gives very detailed information about Lizzo stealing her man. Now, that's just personal stuff that is now kind of on the internet. And Lizzo is a child of the internet. Lizzo is a millennial like the rest of us, but a lot of her fame, success, talent, everything is she expresses herself good, bad, and indifferent via the internet. So of course the internet is gonna talk back, right? And so I'm not naive. I'm not gonna pretend like I can't imagine that if Lizzo can't block out the chatter, I can't imagine. I'm very aware of how bad the voices can be around Lizzo. But I would say don't quit, Lizzo. That's like an unreasonable response. Don't quit. The way you be playing that flute, girl. Don't quit. But what you probably have to do, first thing, let me backtrack. One, don't quit on social media, right? Because we're not going to take it seriously. It only sounds like you're just like whining, it sounds like you're in a position of privilege because Lizzo has millions of followers multiple Grammys, etc. Like even us reporting, like even her social media posts being news, that's a privilege. You know how many people in the real world post every day, I quit, I'm done with this, and nobody knows and nobody protests. There's like just 2 likes on their post. So you're already coming from a very privileged place, and you tell us that you quit on social media. It only sounds like a baby crying out for attention. It only sounds like you want a bunch of people to be like, no, don't quit, which is what's going to happen. I mean, I just spent 5 minutes doing it. But then, of course, it's going to fuel the people who believe that what they're doing, the negativity that they're sending your way, they believe that it's working. Also, I don't really like the language that Lizzo used. And let me see if I could find her actual post. I'll read. Here's the post. I'm getting tired of putting up with being dragged by everyone in my life and on the internet. I'm almost sure that it's more people on the internet than in your life. But if you have millions of followers and you're getting like hundreds and thousands of comments that seem negative, and then the 2 people in your life are also not really showing up the way you need them to, then it's probably going to feel like, oh my God, it's everybody. But I'm almost sure it's not everybody, right? All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be a little better than how I found it. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. That's the part that I don't like. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. I'm constantly up against lies being told about me for clout and views, ... Here's the reason why I don't like, but I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. Whenever you say the world doesn't want me in it, to me that is a signal for suicide. Now, I don't know if it's a signal because you truly want to commit suicide, if it's a true threat or an idle threat, but either way, I don't like it. Both of them, I feel like, are completely unreasonable. And I know that people struggle with mental health, emotional issues every day. I know that. But I feel terrible for a person who feels like they are not needed here, that they are invaluable, so much so that they are willing to take their own lives. Also, the religious, the faithful part of me is like, no. Suicide is the worst possible option. That's not your decision to make. But then further than that, the idle threat of suicide is it's almost like, I'm not going to say this next example because I only been doing this podcast for like 6 or 7 weeks. I got to wait till we about 30, 40 weeks in to really say what, you know what I'm saying? I got to make sure we got a trusting relationship. I got to read the comments. I got to make sure, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, the idle threat of suicide, I believe it's just awful. It's manipulative and I do not like it. So that particular line, it really sticks out to me and I really don't like it. Being the butt of jokes every single time because of how I look, I can imagine, one of my first videos, stand-up clips that was put on YouTube, not by me. It was put on by a club that I was performing in. They didn't ask for my permission. They didn't let me know. They didn't make me aware. They just put it up there, right? The first comment was like, oh, I didn't know A$AP Rocky's sister does comedy. Now, here's the thing that you got to know about me. I think A$AP Rocky is one of the coolest and most attractive people in the music industry. He got perfect teeth. He has great skin. He's a really good looking guy. And he's really cool. And so to say A$AP Rocky's sister, I said, y'all don't even know. You done gave me an extra boost. Okay. You done pulled a Red Bull into my coffee. I don't even drink Red Bull, but I feel like y'all understand that analogy. But then when I did stand up on HBO, and I had Bantu knots, and you guys look at this. I'm just gonna add the photo. I look stunning. But the first comment under the video, somebody was like, "Oh, I didn't know Kodak Black had a sister." At the time, I didn't even know who Kodak Black was. So I had to search who Kodak Black was. And then I realized like, oh, okay, I don't look nothing like Kodak Black. But at the time, he was rocking Bantu knots and I had Bantu knots. I say all that to say, they go at me and I'm a tall, thin. What most people, where you see a lot of my comments are commenting positively on my looks, and even people found ways to be negative, to be what in their opinion negative, right? So I can only imagine what Lizzo receives on a daily basis. And because she is susceptible to it, meaning like she also responds, she also posts like, oh, I don't like this. She responds to people. She entertains the trolls. So of course they're going to keep doing it. She closes the note out with, my character is being picked apart by people who don't know me and disrespecting my name. I didn't sign up for this. I quit. Like I said, you did sign up for this, but also, girl, listen, key words. They talking about they picking your character apart and they don't know you. Girl, then you got to ignore them because it's oxymoronic. These are juxtaposed, these two things. How could they pick your character apart and it be valid at all if they don't know you? So, to Lizzo and anybody else, I say, that it isn't about quitting, right? The solution, rather, because you guys know it's not just about like, oh, is this reasonable or unreasonable? But let's like really discuss the better version of things, right? And so it isn't about you quitting. It's about you equipping yourself with the support and the people and the tools to be good despite what people are saying. You have to equip yourself, equip your surroundings. You especially, Lizzo, with a support system, with tools and practice to combat all of the negativity that is coming at you on what I'm sure is an exponential scale. Also, girl, if you quit, where you going? I can't imagine you working in a Forever 21, Lizzo. Could you imagine Lizzo folding clothes in a Forever 21 and singing along to her own songs? But here's the sucky truth about life. Even if you scaled your life all the way back, Lizzo, and went and worked in a department store in Minneapolis or, guess what? And you only knew 10 people. You only interacted with 10 people a day, every single day for the rest of your life. Guess what? A good majority of those 10 people, they're going to have something negative to say about you. Maybe not to your face, behind your back. They're going to assume or say things about you, because that's just what happens in life. So for you, the journey is to not stop living your life. It's to not stop putting out and pouring into and nurturing your talent and being a successful artist. It's how do you do that in the most healthy way possible, removing that sort of noise that is saying that your character is flawed, that you are overweight, that you're basically useless in this world. How do you do that? That's what I'd say to you, Lizzo. But quitting when you're so freaking dope is just unreasonable. Come on, girl. I'm about to say let's be friends, but I like your music, but I don't know you like that. Y'all know I'm real and I'm logical. It's like, girl, I like your music, but you be stealing people's man. No, I don't know about that. I don't know. That's now I'm out here assassinating the poor woman's character. I don't know. That's just what the girlies is saying on TikTok. Okay, conjoined twins got married. Now this, apparently, there are some conjoined twins. Their names are Abby and Brittany Hensel, and they're known because they had a reality show, and they first appeared on the Oprah show like years and years and years ago. Anyway, I like how it says they're siblings. Yeah, they're siblings. They're conjoined. I feel like conjoined trumps every other relationship you was going to put in there, right? Like, yeah, they're friends. They're besties. They're siblings. They're conjoined, girl. That tops everything. So they posted on TikTok. Somehow, I don't know if they posted, but somehow it was posted on TikTok that one of the twins got married. So, in videos posted on their shared TikTok page on Friday, the former TLC reality star siblings appeared to respond to the online attention that they received after it was publicly revealed this week that Abby, I don't know which one is Abby and which one is Brittany, but Abby married a United States Army veteran by the name of Josh Bowling, and she married him in 2021. Now, let me just tell you what, I know all the single girls out there was like, what, you know how you got to click on it and really make sure you're reading it right? Because there's some women out here, they going and they getting surgeries, they getting hairlines done, they getting permanent eyebrows and eyelashes put on, they getting butts, they losing weight, they gaining weight, they on Ozempic, they changing their clothes, they getting a stylist, they getting master's degrees, they trying their damnedest to get a man. And then you see a post of these conjoined twins, and I'm in no way saying that anyone in special needs. I'm not saying that conjoined twins can't be married. I'm not saying that they can't find love. I'm not saying at all that anybody that is on the spectrum or that is in special needs in any way, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever, can't find love and can't get married. But when you see something like this, I'm sure the single girlies are like, men, what more do you want? You got all the single ladies wandering the street like Tyrese.
What more do you want from me?
But here's the thing. Okay. What the internet apparently, according to People magazine, was extra loud today. And so basically everybody is trying to wrap their brains around this guy marrying both of them. And so I think it's like unreasonable to expect us not to have questions. Like, y'all are conjoined twins and you got married to one single man. So it's going to it's going to pique curiosity. Like, we are active human beings that are constantly taking in information and processing it, right? And so our curiosity, let's not conflate curiosity with hate. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of hate out there. I know there's people out there probably saying that saying all the negative things that can be said about a situation that you don't understand, because that's what happens, right? When you don't understand a lot of times ignorance, breeds negativity, right? But I can have questions and it not be hate. The first thing that I did, I wanted to see how, in fact, they're conjoined. Like, what exactly are they sharing? And so they're sharing everything. They're sharing basically everything below the neck. They're sharing a torso. They're sharing, they only have 2 legs, 2 arms. And then I read that one of them controls the left side of the body, the left arm and hand, and the other one controls the right hand and the right arm. And so it seems like, okay, so Abby got married. So it seemed like Brittany had to approve, right? Because even if Brittany didn't approve, she still, you see how I'm basically like shutting down? I can't even finish my sentences because it is a lot for the brain to try to understand, because it is about like not consent in the way of like, oh, is he taking advantage? Not like that, but like at any moment when Brittany does not want to be involved in the marriage, she can't just walk away. And I do not say that being funny. Brittany, okay, so the most unreasonable thing is how the post was captioned. Oh, congratulations, Abby, conjoined twin sister of Brittany and Abby from the TLC reality show. She got married. It's like, correction, they both got married. I don't care what the marriage certificate say. He might be talking to Abby the most, but they both married. Cause they share everything that happens in a marriage. When this naval officer, what's his name, Josh? When Josh is having sex with Abby, he's also having sex with Brittany. And I hate to reduce it to just, sex, but when he can only hold one side of the hand, and that, one, let's say Abby is on the right side, then he could hold the right side and he's only like holding Abby's hand. But like, oh my God, what if he's trying to be chivalrous, right? What if he's one of those guys that always walks on the outside of the street to protect his lady? Well, the street ain't always on the same side. So at some point, he gonna be protecting Abby, and at some point, he gonna be protecting Brittany. So I don't care what they made up in their minds or their brains and what he is thinking. He married to both. He didn't marry Abby. He married conjoined twins. Am I being unreasonable? I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful because I oftentimes wonder, like, oh, is a guy that's really interested in me or a guy that's like really attracted to me, is he going to like see the scars on my legs and then lose interest? Like, that's a real thing that I don't think about as much anymore, but I used to. And it's like, nah, they hold 2 heads, 1 body. And this guy was like, yeah, I don't care about that. I love you. I think you're beautiful. I think you have a beautiful soul. Your sister's along for the ride. I'm with it. And to know that people like that exist in the world, I like that. We just talking about Lizzo's story. She said, I don't think y'all want me to be here. And Lizzo, what? Okay, she's plus size. These girls are conjoined and they got a whole husband. So I don't really know what the conclusion is. But it seems like this second story has really answered my first story. So I'm gonna move on. But also, it's like to comment anything negative under their post, as much as I'm saying like, wow, I really had to do some research and it really piqued my curiosity. Cause you know, I've heard women say, I don't even let my sister around my man. I ain't even let my my cousin, she be trying to sleep with everybody. I ain't even let my cousin know I got a man. I mean, these are people's situations. People are like, I don't even go visit my family no more just because I'm trying to keep my man and they be trying to take my man. And these girls are conjoined and they got a whole husband. So I'm just trying to provide examples for perspective. Given all of that, I would never, even in me trying to understand it, even if for some reason I don't agree with it, which is not the case, but even if that were the case, I would never comment. I would never be like, this is gross. What are you doing? This is not right. Whatever. It's like they're human beings. Are they made up exactly in the way that we are? No. And this other human being found beauty in them, found love and all of that stuff. And so why not? And what do I get? How does it help me to throw negativity at their life? They already got to share a body. Do you get what I'm saying? I hate to say it like that, but it's like they already got to share a body. And you going to post negative stuff? That's crazy. That's crazy. Talk about insult to like, that's crazy. All right. Last but not least, I don't know. It might be least. I watched the movie Roadhouse. It's a Amazon Studio movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who I like. I most times like his performances. I think he's a good looking actor. Yeah, like I'm not aware of anything that he said that was like controversial, or he ain't, as far as I know, I haven't heard like, anything sexist or racist or whatever kind of come from his direction. I don't think. I also like his sister as an actor. And like I said, it is an Amazon Studio film, and y'all know Amazon has put money in my pocket by two ways, both Upload and my special Hijabs Off. Check it out if you haven't watched it. And so, I ain't going to tear it down, because we're on the same streaming service. But I did, as I was watching it, very early in me tuning in, I did stop it. I don't even know if I stopped it, but I did open up another browser and Google the plot. So with that information, you can decide what my review of the movie is. In me Googling the plot, I realized that it was a remake of a 1989 film with the same title that starred Patrick Swayze, who I loved. Patrick Swayze is best known for, I don't know, maybe to y'all he's best known for Roadhouse, but for me, he's best known for Dirty Dancing and Ghost, starring Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg. Anywho, this is a remake of that film. Now, when I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes of the 1989 film, it got 35%. So I was like, why in the world would they remake a movie that was not considered a good movie when it originally came out? But let me tell you, this is the beauty of whiteness in this world. Okay? Because they took Coming to America, which was stellar, superbly written, superbly performed, superbly directed. They took it and remade it, coincidentally, Amazon. Yo, I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the behind. They remade it and made it drastically worse. But I understood why they remade it, because it was a superb comedy. So it's like, okay, it's been 20, 30 years. You know what? Let's give the people who grew up on this nostalgia, and let's give this new generation, let's try and do this again. Let's try and have this same sort of success for this new generation, right? And they didn't meet it. It didn't meet it. But this is like a film that was, I guess, technically not considered a very good film. And then they remade it. And so the 1989 film got 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. And this new 2024 version has a Rotten Tomato score of 43%. So not that much better. And so I was like, okay, well, there was no way. Because at this point, y'all, I ain't get through the new movie yet, right? And so there was no way I was about to go watch the old one. As much as I really do like Patrick Swayze, rest in peace. So I just watched the trailer. And apparently the old one actually made way more sense, to be honest with you. The old one was like, oh, this doctor, professor, whatever, who like could fight. And it's like, it's funny when you find out that Patrick Swayze was really like 5'4" and 135 pounds. And you like, that's so funny that they had him being like a kick-ass person in movies when really he's a petite, like, I could have probably beat Patrick Swayze in an arm wrestle. I don't know. But I mean, he's smaller than most women I know. Anyway, so he was this like educator, right? And in like somewhere like below the Mason-Dixon line, some little like club or whatever below the Mason-Dixon line. So like somewhere in Mississippi, I'm assuming, or something like that. I don't know. Somewhere in the Bible Belt. They were having a hard time. Like it was just like a club, like a get together place in this small town. And they were having a hard time, like controlling the patrons. You know, people would get drunk and just act out of control. And so they brought him in. It was very clear why they brought him in. They brought him in to train their staff to be able to protect the business. Right? That makes sense. And then there was a doctor there in this community who he kind of hit it off with. And through them dating somebody else that was like a key person in the community, he got jealous. Right? As people do. That's usually like the basis of a movie. Like, oh, boy finds girl, girl likes boy. But then there's this other boy that's totally jealous, or this other girl that's totally jealous. Okay. And the plot thickens. Right? And we have to watch them navigate through this. And so that's basically the 1989 movie. But now fast forward to this 2024 plot. Basically, it's like this washed up MMA fighter who killed his supposed best friend in an MMA ring because he can't control like his anger issues. Runs into this woman who goes to like this cage fight, and she's like, hey, could you come down to my place and be the bouncer? And she doesn't tell him. This new film takes place in the Florida Keys. She doesn't tell him, which I guess is also below the Mason-Dixon line, whatever. She doesn't tell him like, oh, well, I don't just need a bouncer. I basically have these land developers who are also like thugs and have everybody in their pocket. They basically are trying to build this new development. And so basically they want the land that my little Roadhouse club is on. And I need you to protect me from that. She doesn't tell him. He has to kind of like find out. But then he beats up all these thugs. We're going to get into that because that's really what's unreasonable about it. Beyond the fact that they just made a bad movie again. But listen, you know, I follow the head woman from Amazon. I follow her on Instagram because I am on the streaming service. I'm an actor employed and a comedian employed by the streaming service. And she just posted that it is the most streamed movie on the platform. 50 million views globally. So as much as I'm saying all of this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that people are like, this isn't really a good plot. And people are still like, I guess like me. Because I'm sure me talking about it is going to make some of you guys watching my podcast say, you know what, I got to check it out and see if Zainab's review is reasonable or unreasonable, right? So anyway, whatever. Okay. So he beats up these thugs, right? And he takes them to the hospital, and then the doctor comes out and she gives him like, oh, you know, thank you. You know, you brought these thugs here. Now I got to focus on getting them back to health when I could be helping people. And then, okay, she likes him and she comes on to him and he's like, you don't want to know me. You don't want a person in my life. It's like, duh, every good girl wants a bad guy. And if I liked you before, the fact that you're saying, oh no, trust me, you don't want to like me, that is only going to make us like you more. So just stop it. If you believe that you're no good for me, then run away immediately now. Get in your car, drive as fast as it can go, and save me from you. I'm not a person you want to know. Right before we kiss, get your behind out of here. Anywho. Then the thugs go back to their boss, and he's on a yacht being ridiculous. And he don't even want nothing to do with the doctor. He don't care about the doctor. The doctor's, I'm giving away the whole plot at this point. The reason why I had to look up the plot is because it wasn't making sense. And then this McGregor guy, who is like an MMA fighter who then went to boxing or whatever, I couldn't understand who he was in it, but it was too much. It was giving too aggressive. It was giving too animalistic. It was giving like you're trying too hard. All this, like, we know who the star of the movie is. We know who the hero is. So it was giving, yo, I'm gonna be really honest with you. It was giving real Planet of the Apes. I gotta be honest with you. It was giving real, are you a caveman? Like, it was giving real, it was just too much. It was like, I don't even believe it no more. I don't care that you got 9 abs and that your quads, like, clearly you're pressing 72,000 pounds for your quads. And they're putting you in tight little boy shorts. I don't even really care. It was too much. It was like a caricature of a villain. And then it was like fight scenes and all of that. And I honestly can't tell you guys how it ended. Like, I don't know. But I do think that it was rather unreasonable to remake this film, but that's actually not what I want to say. Forgive me. I don't know if I'll cut this part, but just what I find in both, I'm sure the 1989 version, the 2024 version, in any film that I have ever seen in my life that has a fight scene. Why are the bad guys still fighting one-on-one? If it's one person, if it's one character, and it's 9 of you guys, and you surround him, you make a circle around him, and you guys still decide to go at him one at a time. I need them to make a movie or a TV show where all the bad guys decide on 3 guys, on 3, we're all going to punch and kick at the same time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and let's see him get out of that. Because I don't care how good of a fighter you are. I don't care how good of an MMA fighter you are. I don't care how much you know karate, taekwondo. I don't care how big your muscles are. If you're fighting 9 people who also are equipped in similar ways than you, you're not going to be able to beat them up if they all attack you simultaneously. But time and time again, which is so unreasonable, they surround him and go one at a time. You know he's going to beat you up. He's capable. It's written in the script. Somebody, SNL, spoof, somebody. Give us the scene where the bad guy is like, all right, guys, you sure? I'm telling you now, you don't want to do this. You do want to do it? Okay, let's go. And then we hear in unison, the 10 bad guys just go 1, 2, 3. And then they all just pummel him. They pounce on him. And then we're like, oh, okay, well, that movie would be all of 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Before I get out of here, we got to ask Z. At the end of this, I want you guys in the comments to let us know. Do you think whatever this person is asking, are they being reasonable or not reasonable? Make sure you guys include hashtag Ask Z so that I know what you guys are responding to. This week's Ask Z comes from someone I'm going to call Mr. B Man. Mr. B Man. And he says, my question is, I'm a 55 years old man. My girlfriend girlfriend is 35 years old. We have been together for 11 years. She recently started questioning my fitness. I have gained weight for various reasons, including taking care of our children, working 2 jobs, and being in a relationship where we stay busy socially with dinner, bars, clubs, and Broadway. I feel that she is being unreasonable because we all grow older. The shoe on the other foot. I think he's saying like the shoe is on the other foot, like she's going to get old too. At some point, she'll be 55 as well. He says she also doesn't look 25. He says she don't look 25 no more. She also doesn't look 25 anymore. Am I supposed to hold my figure until I'm 80 or 90s? What's reasonable? And then he put his phone number. Now, that was the most unreasonable thing in this entire message. Mr. B-Man, why did you include your telephone number? Did you think I was going to call you back and be like, well, put your girlfriend on the phone? All right. So, but he's 55 years old. So that kind of, maybe he just, I don't know. You know, when you're 55, maybe you just used to leaving your telephone number. So I'm going to give you a pass, Mr. B-Man. So, okay, you're 55 years old. Your girlfriend is 35 years old. So you guys have a 20-year age difference. And you guys have been together for 11 years. So you guys got together. You were 44 and she was 34 when you guys first got together. And she's been questioning your fitness because you've gained weight. Now, I'm not sure if maybe it's like a language, like maybe you're typing in English, but like English isn't your first language. And the reason why I say that is because there's just certain words that you use, like she's questioning your fitness is not the same as like questioning your weight or your body changing. Like, is your body changing because you normally, like, have you been telling her that you're going to the gym 4 times a week, but your body is changing and she's like, you can't be going to the gym 4 times a week? Oh, do you get what I'm saying? That's what questioning your fitness sounds like. Like you're going outside and you're telling her that you're doing a 5-mile run every morning, but really you just go to your car and sit in your car for 45 minutes. Or are you just getting older and you're gaining weight, and so all of your habits have changed? You haven't been able to get to the gym as much as possible. Even when you go to the gym, you can't put in the work that you used to put in. But even the results at the gym are not showing up in the same way that they did when you knew her at 44 because, our bodies change. Our metabolisms change. So either way, what's happening is you're changing, in her opinion, in a negative way, not a positive way. And you're asking, is that unfair for her to judge you in that way? Because you're saying she has also changed. She doesn't look the same as she did when you guys first met. And you're not saying anything about it. On top of the fact, some of the burdens that you're carrying in the relationship is you're taking care of your children. You're working 2 jobs. You're being social. You guys are going out. I have to ask you, Mr. B-Man, what exactly does she do in a relationship? Or were you just really happy to get a younger woman? And so, you didn't understand the pressures of that. Like, are you like just interested in, like, is her only job to keep up the appearance? Like, was her only job to like birth 2 children for you? I don't know if it's true 2. I'm just making it 2. You said so birth multiple children for you and keep herself looking like attractive and viable? Because you haven't mentioned if she has a job. You haven't mentioned if she's taking care of the house. You're saying you're taking care of your children. How? Because it seems like if you're doing 2 jobs, it seems like a big part of taking care of the children will fall on her. But is she also at work? I'm going to assume that if you are a reasonable person, that you would have included that in the description of what all is happening, right? But yeah, no, you're not supposed to hold your figure until your 80s and 90s. But I think that if you guys connected on a health level, like if when you guys got together, it was very clear, she made it very clear that you being in a certain shape was a priority to her, and that's changing, then yeah, there's a conversation to be had. Like it's almost like let's say me and another person, let's say I get with a guy and we are vegans, right? And not like, oh, we just don't eat meat, but I mean, we take on full vegan lifestyles. That's how we connect. We farm all of our produce. We are not just about not eating animals, but we're into the protection of animals. So we don't wear leather. We don't wear anything that is made by animal byproducts. We don't eat honey. We raise our kids the same way. We're not getting vaccination, like all of that type of stuff. Right. And let's say that was the foundation of our bond. And then 10 years down the line, I was like, you know what? I'm really craving a BLT. I really want just some crisp bacon, lettuce, and tomato. And I want it on a nice baguette with a good smear of butter and mayonnaise on it. I don't know. However you guys eat BLTs. That's a major change in a relationship if that was a very strong expectation that the relationship was built on, if that's what you guys connected on, right? If two people get together and you both just happen to look good, and as you grow older, things start to fade or things start to change, then I think that that's something that you can bring to a person's attention. Like if she's not so much focused on the aesthetic of you, but really like the health of it. Like, hey, I noticed that your fitness is slipping, and I want to make sure that you're around. We have our children and we have this life together, and I want to make sure that you do live well into your 80s and 90s. And so I need you to be more health conscious, more fitness conscious, more mindful. Then I think that that's reasonable, but if she's asking all of this without eliminating any of the load that you're saying that you have on your plate, then yeah, it is unreasonable. But what you can do, right, is you can have, instead of no, you're not supposed to hold your figures until you're 80 or 90. But here's a funny thing. I was just, my friend who is visiting Australia and hanging out with me, she knows that I like to go run. And so she's not going to run with me, but she came out with me to like the botanical gardens, and she walked around as I did my run. Right. And then when we met up again, I saw this little old lady running, and this lady had to be like older, 70 or above. I don't know how old she was, but she was not a day younger than 70. And she was just trucking along. And I said to my friend, I was like, that's going to be me. That's going to be me when I'm 70, 89. I'm going to be running so slow that it looks like I'm running in place. It looked like it looked like that I'm just like vibrating a little bit in place. That's how slow I'm going to be running. But that's probably going to be me when I'm in my very old age, right? Now, if I take on a partner that has that expectation and it changes, then we have to really sit down and discuss the new versions of ourselves, right? When it comes to being, I've not been in many relationships that have been very long, but I imagine marriages and relationships that go 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's like, yeah, we evolve as people. And with evolving, we change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. And I think every time we approach any of those major changes that will essentially affect our relationship, then we have to sit down and we have to sort of discuss this new normal. Your new normal may be like, I'm 55 now, and I don't have the body that I had as a 45-year-old. As a 44-year-old, and I don't have the ability to go after that body as a 55-year-old working 2 jobs, taking care of our family, and being social with you, eating out, going to Broadway shows, hitting up clubs, which I imagine include alcohol and all of that stuff. And she might still be in the age range where her body is able to handle that a little bit more naturally than yours can. So I don't think that it is unreasonable for someone to have a reaction to their partner changing, especially if they see that change continuing to happen and it's going in a direction that they don't like. But I think that it's unreasonable to not sit down and talk about it and see how you guys can come to some mutual understanding to continue like a happy and harmonious and loving relationship. But I also think that it's very reasonable for you to be like, listen, this is all of what I have going on. And so I can't even give the time that I once could to these extracurriculars, because this is what I have going. This is what I'm doing in service to us. And so some things are going to fall to the wayside, and it seems like my commitment to fitness is one of those things. But if you'd like me to, lean more into that, then I'm going to need you to pick up the slack here, and here. And then you go from there. So yeah, Mr. B, man, I hope that helps. And thank you so much for writing in and asking Z to help you with an issue. You guys write in. You guys can either leave them in the comments in these videos, or you guys can send them via my DM on Instagram, or you can send an email directly to you can send an email directly to ZainabComedyVIP. Zainab, ZAINAB, ComedyVIP @gmail.com. Of course, it's going to be in the details of this podcast. So don't worry if you didn't write it down. I'll make sure that I include it in the details. That is it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you all next week, where I will not be in Australia. Well, hopefully I'll be in New Zealand. I'll either be in New Zealand or I'll be back in the States. But either way, I'll see you guys next week from a different location.